Hello, this is Andrine, a Jewish American priestess, and today I'm coming to you on the time in Shevat where there's a discussion about the three coals being thrown down from heaven. There's a writing in this book that I follow with the Book of Days. I'll show it to you, the Jewish Book of Days by Rabbi Jill Hammer. She's the Rav Kohenet of the Hebrew Priestess Institute. And each day there is a reading. And the quote is, "In the month of Shevat, God throws down 3 burning coals to warm the earth. On the 7th of Shevat is the first coal, to warm the air. On the 14th of the month, the second falls to warm the water in the trees. And on that day, the Arabs say, 'Today water has entered the trees.' And on the 23rd of Shevat, the third coal is thrown down to warm the soil." So today, I'm going to do a reading based on those 3 coals that are coming down from the heavens. I'm going to actually pull 2 cards from a tarot deck or one of the oracle decks. And then on each of those cards, you get to choose which one you want. I'm going to lay down 3 Hebrunes like those burning coals. And we'll see what is warming the air right now, what is warming the sap in the trees, and what is coming to warm the earth, the soil in which we've planted. So let's start out with a slip of paper from this bowl, which will guide us. There it comes right out. Which deck we're using today. And today we have the medicine cards. We've had those again recently, but that's what wants to come out. So I'll go get those. I'll be right back. In many ways, it's quite lovely that it's the medicine cards, because the medicine cards do speak to the creatures of the earth. And since we're trying to incorporate these spiritual aspects into our actual earthly selves, maybe we'll get a good picture of what kind of animal is calling to you today. So let me pull out 2 of these cards and see who wants to be here today. There's one. Oh, there is 2. Okay. And maybe I'll move these out of the way so that we have space. So 2 cards and 3 coals. Let's see. The first card brings us frog. And that's number 38 in this deck. And the second card is horse. And that's number 35 in this deck. So take a moment to discern which of these 2 animals, they're very different animals, is calling to you today. And then we'll do a 3 Hebrew reading about which 3 coals are coming down. And I will put the timestamps down below, and I will see you in your reading. Welcome, frog people. Those of you who chose the frog today, let's read a little bit about him from the book while we look at this card. Frog cleansing. Frog sings songs that bring the rain and make the road dirt more bearable. Frog medicine is akin to water energy. And the east on the medicine wheel. Frog teaches us to honor our tears, for they cleanse the soul. All water rites belong to frog, including all initiations by water. Water prepares and cleanses the body for sacred ceremony. It is the element we understand best in the womb. Frog, like ourselves, is a polywog in the fetal waters and only learns to hop after it experiences the world of fluidity. The transformation into adulthood prepares frog for its power to call in the waters of the skies, the rain. In knowing the element of water, frog can sing the song that calls the rain to earth. When the ponds are dry, frog calls upon the thunder beings to cleanse and replenish the earth with water. Like frog, we are asked to know when it's time to refresh, purify, and refill the coffers of the soul. It may be calling you to cleanse. There may be some cleansing that you need. If you were to look at where you are today, would you use any of the following words to describe your condition? Tired, overloaded, harried, frustrated, guilty, itchy, nervous, at a loss, empty, or weakened. If so, take a break and allow yourself to bathe in the waters of frog medicine. This could mean a long, relaxing bath, disconnecting from your phone, yelling stop, or taking in deep, cleansing breaths. The key is to find a way to rid yourself of distractions and replace the mud with clear energy. Then replenish your parched spirit, body, and mind. So frog, very much up right now with water in terms of cleansing and rain. It is the winter season as we're doing this reading. And the winter season is cold and wet, but it's also about transformation and cleansing. And I love that the frog calls down the rain because it's like those three coals coming from heaven. So we're going to pull out 3 Hebrunes today. I'm going to slide frog up a little bit here, and we're going to put them right across as those 3 come down from above. The first coal warms the air, and we have the letter He. The second coal warms the water in the trees. We have the Ein Sof. And the third coal that's coming warms the earth, and we have Beit. Perfect. So let's take a look at the first coal. Maybe I will zoom in a little bit as well. Perfect. Let me maybe scooch these down just a hair so we can see everybody. Okay, our first coal is the letter He. And the letter He is the letter that means presence. It's the first letter of the word Hineni, meaning here I am, present and ready for service. And I think that's so perfect for frog because frog is here to allow for cleansing, but really transformative. Available to become what it needs to be in the world. He is the number 5, and so it speaks to the 5 levels of soul and the 5 fingers on the hand. So there's something about artistry and service and action in the world with the He. In the Sefer Yetzirah, the He refers to the sense of sight. So being able to see our way forward with that clarity, the clarity of the cleansing waters. And this is the letter that warms the air around us. So when you're thinking about the levels of the soul, Ruach is one of them, and Neshama, both of those harken back to the idea of breath. Ruach is the breath. Neshama is soul, but it also is used as breath, spirit. When we think about inspiration, right, being inspired, it also includes that word spirit. And expiration, which is exhalation, is releasing spirit into the world. So to inspire and to expire both have spirit in them, and they both have this idea of spirit and soul and breath. The breath that was breathed into us by the divine. So as this coal comes down, this coal from heaven saying, how do we warm the air? How do we make the air more available to us? It says to me that showing up and being available, being able to say, Hineni, here I am, available for service to the divine, is the way that we can warm the air around us. He is 2 of the 4 letters of the divine name, the Yud He Vav He. And so it has this sense of presence within the name of the divine itself. That name, which is a contraction of was, is, and will be, past, present, and future, it requires presence in order to experience divinity. Showing up, sitting, breathing in the air. When we breathe in the cold air, our bodies warm it. And so upon exhalation, the breath is warmer. So in some ways, we become that coal. We become, with our presence, with our breath, the thing that warms the air around us at this time of year. The letter He is connected to the month of Nisan, which is the spring. It's the first month of the calendar where Pesach happens, where the grasses grow and the lambs dance. That constellation Aries, which is the ram, right? It's the symbol of the tribe, the people of Israel. Worldwide now we are called Jews because we come from the tribe of Judah. Judah is affiliated with this letter. The tribe of Judah is spelled Yud He Vav Dalet He. So it's got the divine name within it, Yehuda. It's like the divine name with a dalet in it, dalet meaning doorway. So there is this sense of our doorway into the divine is presence. And you can see that the He looks a little bit like a dalet with a small vav down there. Dalet, which is the doorway, and vav, which is connection. That's what makes up presence. Connection and stepping through the doorway. It also corresponds to the liver in the body. The liver, which is this organ able to filter. It filters the blood. The liver is able to detoxify the body. It knows what is useful and what is needing to be discarded. And it knows that, in part by being present and sitting with the things that come in. The word liver in Hebrew is keved, and it's the same root as the word kavod. Kavod, which means glory and honor. It's because the liver is the heaviest organ in the body. It has this weight, it has this gravitas of glory and honor with it. So all of that is held within the He. The He, which is the first coal coming down from heaven, saying, how do we warm the air? We warm the air by showing up, by remaining present, by sitting in the presence of the divine, by listening and hearing the divine call our name and responding, Hineni, here I am. By owning our glory and honor, by being able to filter out what is toxic in our life, and letting it go. Taking air, ruach, into the body, cool air, and exhaling it warmer, becoming the coal that warms the air right now. So that's our first coal coming down from heaven. What is warming the air? Presence. In the position of the second coal, we have the Ein Sof, which is this beautiful blank, right? It's this blank letter. It has nothing, and yet it holds the potential for everything on it. It's the substrate onto which all the letters are carved. And it represents that unendingness and the void. This second coal represents what is it that helps warm the sap, the water in the trees. So as this falls down next week, during Tu B'Shvat, this coal, the unending, this timelessness, this boundlessness, is the thing that will warm the water in your trees. It's like that empty pond that the frog is swimming in. It actually looks like the shield that he's sitting on. So we have this emptiness, this that is without end, Ein Sof, without end. And it represents all of existence that happened before time and matter, and all that will happen after time and matter ends. The divine, the emptiness and the fullness, eternity, all that was and is and will be. That idea of becoming. So what warms the water in the trees is the potential to become. The trees are cold right now. They are iced over where I am. They look very barren and not particularly fruitful. Will they survive this cold snap? We don't know. But there's endless potential in them. There's some sort of depth that's underneath it all. This boundlessness, this, again, endless possibility, and this desire to become. So as the coal comes down from heaven, this blank coal, this maybe burning so hot that there's not even a letter on it, it warms the sap in the trees and gives them the life, this eternal flame, if you will, the Ner Tamid, this eternal potential, warms the water in the trees, gives them the ability to become what they are to become. All of existence and matter and time is fashioned from oneness. Even in physics, they're saying that time did not exist before stuff existed, that before the Big Bang there was no time, which is a really hard concept to wrap one's mind around. And when the divine decided to create, they had to contract themselves down into one point in order to make space. This is that space. That idea of contraction, tzimtzum, making space so that creation could exist. And the trees, in their coldness, seem to be contracting, and soon they will expand. And this coal coming down from heaven, which is that unendingness, that void, that primordial chaos, if you will, it's this blank page, the blank canvas onto which paintings are painted, the bare branches that the tree uses to paint its life, its fruit, its blossom. This is that blankness. And that's what's coming down from heaven in the center here to warm the trees. The cleansing from the frog, that we need to have clarity and cleansing and blankness before the sap can rise. So this is our center coal, warming the sap in the trees. And the coal that is thrown down on, I believe it's the 23rd of Shevat, late in the month, is that which warms the earth. And here we have the letter Beit. The letter Beit is the letter that represents a house. Where do we dwell? Maybe it's a building, maybe it's a house of study, but it's our home. Where do we make our home? And for me, Beit brings up two different ideas. One is we make our home in our bodies, wherever we go. So finding that coal in our body, heating up. And we make our homes on this planet, this earth. So the coal that's coming down to warm the earth is home. It's our planet. It is the binary transformation of life and death in the Sefer Yetzirah. So we have this continuum that goes from life to death to life again. And we land somewhere on that. And as this coal comes down, it gives us the choice. Do we live or die? Do we die and then resurrect ourselves and live again? There are many different transformations that happen in a life. When one is in the egg, there is no other knowing. And that egg dies to become the tadpole, to become the fetus. That fetus grows within its amniotic fluid in its pond and its water. And then it's living in this womb that is its home, and it does not know anything else. And then when it is born, it dies to that womb and becomes born into the world and becomes its infant self. And then it grows legs. The frog grows legs. It learns to walk and learns to jump. And then it is born into a toddler, and then it is born into an adolescent, and then it is born into an adult, and then it is born into an elder, and then it is born again into something else, and we don't know what that will be. But wherever we are, this third coal coming down is home. Our bodies as they transform. Our planet as we live on it, in it, and transform it around us. And that third coal coming down from heaven that is warming the earth is the letter that corresponds to the day of Shabbat. So rest is important. Not just doing, not just becoming, but rest. Beit is the first letter of Torah, Bereshit, so new beginnings coming as well with this transformation, with this coal coming down out of the heavens to warm the earth, a new beginning. Spring is the first hint of spring. So we have our three coals here with the frog, cleansing, transformation. Now, the presence. This is what will warm the air, staying present. The blank, the Ein Sof, that without end, will warm the sap, making space for potential, for the new leaves, the new blossoms, the new fruit coming. And Beit, home, making our home in our bodies, getting adequate rest, making our home in the earth, taking time to be where we are in our bodies will be the thing that warms the earth and gives us the new beginning of spring coming in. So for those of you who chose frog today, this has been your reading of the three coals. I hope that you start to feel the warmth coming down from heaven as we move into the new year of the trees. See you next time. Welcome, card number 2, Horse People. Let's take a look at your card and read a little bit about it. Beautiful horse. Number 35 here. Horse is all about power. Stealing horses is stealing power was a statement made frequently in historical Native America and a reference to the esteemed role which horse played in Native cultures. Horse is physical power and unearthly power. In shamanic practices throughout the world, horses enable shamans to fly through the air and reach heaven. Humanity made a great leap forward when horse was domesticated, a discovery akin to that of fire. Before horse, humans were earthbound, heavy-laden, and slow creatures indeed. Once humans climbed on horses' back, they were as free and fleet as the wind. They could carry burdens for great distances with ease. Today, we measure the capacity of engines with the term horsepower, a reminder of the days when horse was an honored and highly prized partner with humanity. Dreamwalker, a medicine man, was walking across the plains to visit the Arapaho Nation. He carried with him his pipe. Over the rise of a hill, Dreamwalker saw a herd of wild mustangs running toward him. Black Stallion approached him and asked if he was seeking an answer on his journey. Black Stallion said, "I am from the void, where answer lives. Ride on my back and know the power of entering the darkness and finding the light." Dreamwalker thanked Black Stallion and agreed to visit him when his medicine was needed in the dream time. Yellow Stallion approached Dreamwalker next and offered to take him to the east where illumination lives. Dreamwalker could share the answers he found there to teach and illuminate others. Once again, Dreamwalker thanked Yellow Stallion and said he would use these gifts of power on his journey. Red Stallion approached, rearing playfully. He told Dreamwalker of the joys of balancing work and heavy medicine with the joyful experiences of play. He reminded Dreamwalker that he could hold better his attention of those he taught when humor was integrated into the lesson. Dreamwalker thanked him and promised to remember the gift of joy. Dreamwalker was nearing his destination. The Arapaho Nation was close at hand. White Stallion came to the front of the herd. Dreamwalker mounted White Stallion's back. White Stallion was the messenger carrier for all the other horses and represented wisdom in power. This magnificent horse was the embodiment of the balanced medicine shield. "No abuse of power will ever lead to wisdom," said White Stallion. "You, Dreamwalker, have made this journey to heal a brother in need, to share the sacred pipe, and to heal Mother Earth. You have the knowledge through humility that you are an instrument of Great Spirit. As I carry you upon my back, you carry the needs of the people on yours. In wisdom you understand that power is not given lightly, but awarded to those who are willing to carry responsibility in a balanced manner." So, receiving the powers, many powers that are available through horse, is one of the things that's coming to us as these three coals are thrown down to earth during Shevat. The healing of the earth, the renewal of the earth. But we need to balance that, and that's the important message here. So let's pull out 3 Hebrunes to represent those 3 coals coming down to earth and see what is bringing us heat at this season. The first coal will warm the air, and we have tzadi. The second coal warms the water in the trees. We have dalit. And the third coal warms the earth. We have hay. So the first coal coming down from heaven is the tzadi. Tzadi is the letter that represents justice, tzedek, a righteous person. It's also the letter that corresponds to this month, the month of Shevat. You can see it looks a little bit like a tree. It has the earth across the bottom and a trunk and 2 branches coming up. It's affiliated with the month of Shevat. It's the number 90 in Gematria. And to that end, it represents an ultimate manifestation of gestation of goodness. The number 9 in Gematria is Tet, which represents a womb and 9 months of gestation. And 10 times 9 is that ultimate manifestation. Tet begins the word Tov, which means goodness. So we have an ultimate manifestation of goodness and gestation coming to justice with tzedek. Tzadi also corresponds to the tribe of Asher. Asher, which means happiness, and we have that story about the joy, that we have to remember to have joy in order to warm the air around us. I'm thinking about breathing and how our breath, the oxygen that we breathe, is created by the trees themselves. That we exhale carbon dioxide, which the trees use to build themselves, and the trees exude oxygen for us to live. And we have that exchange that goes on. When we inhale, the air is cooler, and when we exhale, the air is warmer. So that exchange of breath with the trees, on some level, is what's warming the air with this first coal coming down from heaven. The power of interdependence with nature. And as I said, Asher is the name that means joy or happiness. And when we experience joy and happiness, sometimes there's laughter. And laughter is that exhalation with sound that brings warmth and joy to a situation. And the name Asher sounds very much like Asherah. Asherah, who is the name of a fertility goddess said to be the consort of the divine masculine in ancient primitive Hebrew cultures. Asherah, the one who dwells within the trees. Some say that Asher's mother, Zilpah, came from a different Semitic tribe and brought her local gods and goddesses with her, so it may be that she named her son Asher after the fertility goddess of Asherah, and she's venerated through trees, those trees that give us breath, that breath that allows us to speak and laugh. So our first coal coming down from the sky is tzadi. Tzadi meaning justice, righteousness. Tzadi representing the month of Shevat. Tzadi representing the Asherah. This is what's warming the air. Interdependence with trees, breath, an ultimate manifestation of goodness and gestation resulting in justice, righteousness. Justice and righteousness for the earth itself, taking care of the trees, harnessing our power to make justice on the earth and for the earth at this time of year. The second coal coming down from heaven is that which warms the water in the trees, making the sap rise. And we have the letter Dalet, Dalet, which is a doorway, a gate, some kind of threshold that we're crossing over. In the month of Shevat, Tu B'Shvat, which is that day where that second coal is thrown down to let the sap rise in the trees, happens, of course, on the full moon, the 15th of Shevat. So there's a transition that happens at that time, a doorway, a liminal space, the passing through fullness to the other side. Dalet is the number 4 in Gematria, and so it has this connotation of the 4 elements, the earth, air, fire, and water, of the 4 seasons, the winter, spring, summer, and fall, and the 4 directions, north, south, east, and west. And all doorways are transitions to something or from something or both. And they are this liminal space, that middle place, where we pass through from one room to another, from the outside to the inside. So there's some transition that's happening that will be that coal that warms the sap in the trees, that causes that sap to rise. Even though the branches appear bare, there's some transition happening here, some kind of power coming down from above that allows us to transition through toward the springtime. It allows the trees to start their growths, to start the beginning of that rising sap that feeds the nutrients to the branches and causes them to want to bud. And the budding isn't going to happen right away, but it's got to start somewhere. And it starts with this doorway. It starts with this transition. Dalet is the binary transformation of wisdom and foolishness. in the Sefer Yetzirah, the book of creation. So there's something here in this reading about making wise choices, making the wise choice to transition, to pass through the doorway, making the wise choice once we enter, which direction will we go? And the Dalet represents the birth canal. It's the place out of which all beings are born. The feminine genitalia, the delta of Venus. So there's something here about being born like the trees are starting to have that sap rising within them, and there's a birth that happens there. And the fullness of the moon, that very, very pregnant moon in the sky, will begin to give birth at that time. And that's the power of the second coal coming down from heaven, the power of birth, of transition, of transformation. The power of the liminal space, the doorway, the portal. And our third coal that's coming down on the 23rd of Shevat is the letter He. The letter He, which is the letter that begins the word Hineni. Here I am, ready for service. When you hear the divine call your name, the appropriate response is Hineni. Here I am. And frequently we have to say, I am ready, before we even know what our next step is. Sometimes the divine calls us to move in a direction and we don't even know what the destination is. And near the end of the month, when we have that third coal coming down from the sky, it's saying to us, show up, be present, be available. He is the sense of sight in the Sefer Yetzirah. So it's about being able to see our way forward. It's about being able to use our vision, of power, use our power of vision, as it were, to get us to the next thing. He corresponds to the liver in the body, which is the heaviest of all the organs. And it has this gravitas to it. It is the word keved in Hebrew, which is the same root as the word kavod, meaning glory and honor. It filters out toxic materials that have come into our lives, that's come into our body. So showing up, being present, and being able to discern what one needs to release. There's great power in that. There's magic and healing and medicine in that discernment. So as we come into the third coal of Shevat, be aware, be able to see what's toxic in your life and release that. Be able to say, here I am, ready for service, and listen to the power within you to know what direction to go, to know what is worth keeping and what needs to be released. Have that honor, have the glory in your own life. Harness that power, the power of remaining present, even when you don't necessarily know how things will turn out. See things from a different perspective, perhaps, and remain present. That is the third coal that will warm the earth and help us transition into the next phase. He is the letter that corresponds to the month of Nisan, which is the month of spring, the new year at Pesach time. So there's something really important about showing up, staying present in order to warm the earth, in order to warm the springtime and allow it to come in. So harness all of this power. Harness the power of justice right now, the power of transition, and the power of presence in order to warm your air, your sap, and your earth so that springtime will come in its full power with horse. Choose wisely which horse to ride right now. And remember that discernment is essential. So for those of you who chose horse, this has been your reading for the 3 coals of Shevat. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. And I'll look forward to seeing you here next time.